It's 2010 in the early morning hours in the United Kingdom. While most of RuneScape's player base is still asleep, an update is pushed out making an item once valued at 12 GP into one worth 75,000, not to mention without any prior announcement. Players who had been hoarding this item were made billionaires literally overnight. But why? Today you'll learn the story of this insane update, the alleged insider trading, and the paranoia it left the community feeling for years to come. Now, before we start the video, I want to give you a quick rundown on today's sponsor, Opera GX. It's a web browser built just for gamers. First, my favorite, GX Control. You can adjust the amount of RAM and CPU your browser uses, and with a network limiter, you can also limit the amount of internet bandwidth Opera GX uses, meaning you don't have to worry about your web browser taking up your computer's resources while playing, and no more rage closing Chrome after you die from a lag spike. Next is the GX Corner. Here you can stay up to date with free games, amazing deals, new releases, and breaking game news. Plus, they have an upcoming games release calendar. Another cool one is Twitch and Discord integration. You can get notified when your favorite streamer goes live, and you don't even have to leave your browser to check your Discord messages. But hey, if you prefer Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, those are also options. Last is the beautiful design and customization options. The accents in Opera GX are inspired by neon lights and how they break the darkness of the night. You can customize the browser with special themes, wallpapers, and colors. So listen, give this browser a shot, I promise you won't regret it. You can download it for free right now in the description below, and let me know how much you like it in the comments. Climbing boots are an item originally released in 2004 as part of the Death Plateau quest. Oddly enough, upon release they were given a +2 strength bonus, making them offensively just as good as rune boots and just 2 strength bonuses away from dragon boots. Unlike Rune and Dragon, they don't require any levels to actually wear, and they don't have any negative range and mage bonuses. Not to mention, they could be purchased from a non-player character for only 12 coins after the completion of the Death Plateau quest. If you wanted to save time and buy them from the Grand Exchange from another player, it was around 200, which is still ridiculously cheap for how good these were. As a result, these boots became one of the most popular items used in PKing and other wilderness activities. The main use was from pures, many of which didn't have the defense requirements for rune boots. So climbing boots were a decent strength bonus for your character while making you not risk any extra GP. They were a staple in PvP for really ever. But for some reason, 6 years after the release, Jagex took a look at these things and thought they're too overpowered, but mainly because of the price. Jagex had a number of options to nerf these things. For example, they could have lowered the strength bonus, boosted the strength bonus of rune and dragon boots, or added negatives to climbing boots. What to do? There is just so many good options. Jagex went with the option to change their price to 75,000 coins. What? What the f? So, how do you balance an overpowered item? I guess by making the price so high that nobody will ever use it again. Okay, let me explain. Jagex decided that they still wanted to keep climbing boots for the quest cheap, because nobody wants to pay 75,000 coins for a pair of boots that you'll use for a couple quests and when getting to God War's dungeon if you didn't have a teleport. So they removed the bonus from the climbing boots for those just completing the quest, and made a new item called rock climbing boots, the 75,000 coin variant, with the bonus intact. So all climbing boots from before this update were transformed into rock climbing boots. At the time, Jagex really offered no further explanation beyond the price of existing boots will be increased to be more appropriate in relation to their usefulness. You want to guess how the community reacted to that? They were pissed. There were riots all over RuneScape, hundreds of rant videos on YouTube, and among these videos came a community hero, log.zip. He made a few videos complaining about the update that really resonated with the community. He went on the forums ranting about it, and when Jagex banned him for it, the community went berserk. The name log.zip was literally everywhere. It was on the rant forums, in-game, and in many Jagex moderators' clan chats. Just saying his name could get you muted. As a result, he was dubbed the Climbing Boots Guy for years to come. Unfortunately, the videos he made are long gone from his channel as he pivoted to Minecraft content years ago. I still remember watching his RuneScape videos way back then, and even a little bit of his Minecraft stuff. Good times. Anyway, the question is, why did Jagex update the boots like this when there were so many other better options? Let's look at what a JMod posted a day after the update. I've read through this entire thing multiple times and it still makes almost no sense to me. The wording and examples are confusing to say the least, so I've dumbed it down a bit. The first issue they bring up is that the boots were too strong for the price you could get them at, and they wanted players to use rune or dragon boots. Their intention with climbing boots was to make them a sort of backup boot. Before the update, rune boots were going for around 50k on the Grand Exchange, so bumping climbing boots up to 75k makes no sense when they're objectively a worse boot. They didn't become backup boots, they just became dead content. Jagex also mentioned that because the price of climbing boots was so low from the shop, they would always be stuck in the same price range on the GE. It's not like other items that monsters drop, where based on how rare or useful the item is, the price fluctuates. Climbing boots were in the same spot forever, no matter how big or small the demand for them was. Again, I don't believe messing with the player run economy was the solution on this one. They knew going into this update that the boots were just going to be made dead content simply because of the price. But if nobody wants to use them, how did players get so rich from this update? Obviously, nobody wants to pay 75k for climbing boots when you can get rune boots, which are better in most areas, for less money. Well, Jagex also made it so you could cast the high alchemy spell on climbing boots and get 45k in return. Dragon boots, which were significantly more expensive at 350k, only had a high alch value of 12k. I have no clue what Jagex was thinking with this one. So why not make them dead content in a way that doesn't make everyone that owned a pair rich? Unless someone had an ulterior motive. At the time, merchanting clans were running rampant in RuneScape. They controlled a lot of the prices in the game. It's rumored that a Jagex moderator may have leaked the update to someone that ran or participated in one of these clans. Now, I did some really deep digging to try and find any sort of proof this happened. There's a lot of allegations, but I couldn't find any hard facts until I found this. RuneScape's forums have a secret section only for player moderators. It contains directions for moderators to follow, invites for meetings where mods can ask Jagex staff questions, and the answers to the questions asked in those meetings are posted after every meeting on the forums. This is where I introduced Phife. I can't even say his name. Phife? Phife. This is where I introduced Phife, a very well-known bug abuser from the mid-2000s and early 2010s. Him and another user named Yogi managed to get access to the PMod forums and leaked everything multiple times. A few weeks after the Climbing Boots update, Phife posted a new leak on July 8th. In one of the recent PMod meetings, someone said there's been a ton of rumors circulating around the net about a possible leak regarding the Climbing Boots update. Players have been claiming people have made hundreds of millions of GP off it. It's been a huge problem in Mod MMG's clan chat. ModCom responded with, "There was one confirmed minor leak, unfortunately. A staff member from the community management team had, according to what we know so far, given certain players prior notice to the update, who in turn told some of their friends. This is currently under investigation." Com also told PMods to say that there were no leaks, but that the largest confirmed amount of boots a player owned on a single account was 91,000, meaning if they high-alched all those boots, they'd have earned over 4 billion GP, which was a massive amount of money at the time and still even so a little bit today. Around 2010, gold was worth about $1 per million, meaning that stack of boots was worth over $4,000 on underground markets. As time went on, Jagex refused to roll back the update, and players continued to be upset about it. Jagex had messed with the open market, and players figured at any time an item they own could be randomly increased or even decreased in price. Nobody knew if or when Jagex would strike again and for what reasons. I should note, at last year's RuneFest, there was a Mythbusters panel where Modmark said that the update wasn't some big con to make a JMod a bunch of money.
Spicy.
Climbing boots was an inside job to make bank for an employee.
Come on then, Mark.
Mark's going to take this one. Carry on, Mark. Oh, false.
We did it for the right reasons. It's one of those weird items that the players had higher value than the system had decided. So we increased the value, and suddenly there were a handful of players, like maybe one or two, that had a ridiculous amount of climbing boots in their banks at the time, and they made proper bank from it.
Modmark also claimed soon after the update, the account with the highest amount of boots was only around 1,800. At the same time, we have the forum leaks I just discussed. So maybe someone fed him wrong data back in 2010, or the team figured it would be best to just cover it up back then. Maybe even the mod that posted on the PMod forums could be wrong. We will likely never know the full story. Jagex, like most companies, have had a few cover-ups in their past. One of the biggest ones happened in 2010, when what many players call the update that killed RuneScape went live. I have an entire video on screen right now where I talk about what was covered up, why they did it, and how it wasn't exposed until a decade later.